Hey, I'm Donald Bell, and in this video I'm going to make an internet-connected jukebox that hosts my old MP3 collection. This is a Raspberry Pi project, and by no coincidence, this video is sponsored by WD Labs, a division of Western Digital that sells all kinds of great Raspberry Pi kits and products and accessories. You should check them out. So here's my problem, and maybe you can relate to this. I love music, and I spent the better part of a decade buying it and building an MP3 collection that now lives on old drives that I never use. If that sounds like you, you're gonna love this video. Now, there are a lot of solutions I could throw at this, and I know that, but here's what I'm proposing. I'm gonna take an old speaker, a $30 amplifier, and a $45 product from WD Labs called the Pi Drive Node Zero. And for under $100, I'm going to have a dedicated all-in-one solution in my house that can play my MP3s, play Spotify, and even act as an AirPlay speaker that I'll control all from my phone. I swear this is a real thing, so let's give it a shot, and for a more detailed step-by-step guide, you can follow the link in the description. First things first, let me introduce you to the Pi Drive Node Zero. This is kind of a crazy product in the best possible way. It's a 314 gigabyte hard drive with a Raspberry Pi Zero grafted onto it. WD Labs also bumps up the Pi's micro USB port to a couple of full-size ports. They include a mini HDMI adapter cable and a micro SD card pre-installed with their custom version of the Raspberry Pi Noob software to make setup easy. Now, the Noob software that comes pre-installed is great, and I have a whole separate video on setting up a Pi drive using that software. But for this project, I'm going to treat the attached drive here as just generic USB storage that I can load up all my music on. That sound good? So step one, instead of using the included software, I'm gonna just download the full version of the Raspbian OS to my computer and write it to a micro SD card. I'm gonna pull this down from raspberrypi.org, where you'll also find instructions on how to properly write this to your card. For me, on a Mac, the best tool I've found is a free one called Apple Pi Baker. I'm gonna open it up, format my card, and put the Raspbian image on it. Step two, I'm gonna boot up the Node Zero with this card installed and a Wi-Fi adapter, a keyboard, and a USB mouse connected. I had to use a $10 USB hub to get everything hooked up, but no big deal. Once we're in the desktop, I'm gonna connect up to Wi-Fi here in the Wi-Fi settings. Then in the top left drop-down menu, I'm going to add remove software to install a new program. It's called Gparted. I'm gonna search for it, check it, and hit apply. It'll ask for your password, which by default is the word raspberry in all lowercase. Now, you could also do this over the command line, I know that, but I figure this is the least intimidating way for most people. Once it's done, hit OK, and then go to the Preferences submenu to find and open Gparted. When you open it up, it'll ask you for your password again. Here's Gparted. It's a tool for formatting and partitioning any storage you have connected to the Pi. We have a 300 gig hard drive connected here, but we can't do anything with it until we format it. To do that, click the drop down in the top right corner of the window and select the drive with the 292 gigs of actual space. Next, we'll create a new partition table for this drive. Then we'll format the partition as FAT32. I'll also add a label here for music, which will show up as a folder that we'll see in a minute. After a reboot, the drive is ready to be put to use. I'm gonna open up the file browser, navigate to Media, Pi, and then there's this music folder that I created when we formatted the drive. I know I'm in the right place because I see that the folder size has the 292 gigs of space. This is where we wanna move our music to. Step three, we're gonna connect up whatever USB hard drive has your music collection on it to the other USB port on the Pi drive. When I connect the drive, the Pi will automatically give me a file view for it, and I can browse through it for my music collection. So here I found an old iTunes folder. Inside I've got all the folders for my music collection. If I were smart, I would probably groom this collection a little before copying it over, but let's just bring it all over and see what happens. Select all, drag it over to the empty folder on the Pi drive, and wait for it to copy over, which could take a while. Alright, with the music transferred, you can shut down, disconnect the drive and the mouse, and take out the card. It's time now to introduce the software star of the show, Pi Music Box. This software will turn your Pi into a networked music server and an AirPlay receiver that you can manage right from your phone or computer. It's awesome, and you can learn more about it at pimusicbox.com. At the time I'm recording this, they don't have a public release of the software that supports the Pi Zero. To remedy this, I went on GitHub and emailed the developers. One of them, Nick Steele, was awesome enough to provide me with an unofficial 0.7 version that I'll link to in the description. Not only will it work with the Pi Zero, but it also includes a number of software fixes that aren't in earlier versions. It's a work in progress, and I'll update the link as new versions roll out, but everyone thank Nick for this, all right? If you want to thank me for bugging Nick to make this, I'll take it. Just give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, all right? So step 4, with our special version of Pi Music Box downloaded, we're going to repeat the process of writing it to a blank SD card. I wouldn't write over the Raspbian card just in case you want to move over more music later. If you want, you could write over the Noobs card that WD Labs provides, or any card with at least 4 gigabytes of storage. After you've imaged the card, open it up on your computer and then open the config folder and then the settings.ini file as a text document. Under the section labeled network settings, you're going to plug in your Wi-Fi network ID and password. This will allow the system to jump right on your network without you ever needing to touch the code from here on out. Save it, close it, and if it warns you that you can't undo this change, that's fine. Step 5, we're going to pop the Pi Music Box card into the Pi Drive Node Zero along with the Wi-Fi dongle. It's possible that future versions of the Node Zero will ship with the Pi Zero W board, which would eliminate the need for this, but it's also possible just to swap out the board on your own if you really want. Now, I could run this without a monitor if I'm feeling lucky, but for this initial setup, I'm going to keep my monitor attached just so I can see what's going on. Alright, so I'm booting up now, and here's where the software is looking for my network. It found it. And here's where it's scraping music from any connected USB drive. In this case, it's my Pi drive, and you can see it crawling and reporting back on files it couldn't quite digest. Maybe there are some DRM files on here, or formats it doesn't like. That's okay. It's still going to work fine. If it really bugged me, I could remove those files either in the command line or by booting back up in Raspbian and finding them that way. Now here's the fun part. Within my own home network, I can use any computer or tablet or smartphone and just go to musicbox.local and boom! Here is the Music Box software that the Pi is hosting on my network. From here I can go to local files, find something to play, and it will play off the Pi. I can plug in some headphones to check that it's working. There's also a whole lot more you can do here to set up other services, and that's all covered at pimusicbox.com. Alright, final step. Step 6, let's make this a standalone speaker in my house that can act as a jukebox. I've got my Pi Drive Node Zero all set up, and I could just leave it like this, but WD Labs also sells a cool, inexpensive case that I can drop it in and dress it up a little. I also have this cool old speaker that I picked up from a yard sale. I have a $30 amplifier from Amazon and some speaker wire. And I have a mini jack RCA cable to get me from the Pi to the amp using a $7 USB audio adapter. I'll connect that up first. Then run speaker cable from the amp to the speaker. Now we just need to connect the Pi and the amp to power and see if it all works. Boom! Not only do I have this cool internet connected music system that I can control from anywhere in my home, but I also brought my MP3 collection back to life. And I did all this for under $100. To learn more about the Pi Drive Node Zero or to pick one up, you can head over to wdlabs.wd.com. And to see full expanded instructions on this project, you can head over to my site, makerprojectlab.com. Alright? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.